Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today we continue our commander decks led by the new legendary creatures from the upcoming Final Fantasy set. As I'm sure you saw from the thumbnail, leading today's deck is none other than Kefka, Court Mage, the villain of the best Final Fantasy ever made, 6. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. Kefka Court Mage is a 5-mana 4/5 legendary human wizard. Whenever Kefka enters or attacks, each player discards a card. Then we draw a card for each card type among cards discarded this way. We may also pay 8 mana. If we do, each opponent sacrifices a permanent of their choice. We then transform Kefka, but we may only do this as a sorcery. Transformed, he becomes Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, a 5/7 legendary avatar wizard with flying. Whenever an opponent loses life during our turn, we draw that many cards. As I said earlier, Kefka is the main villain of Final Fantasy VI. We meet him fairly early on, and he seems like a joke character. But that soon changes. Spoiler alert for a 30-year-old video game. These are pretty big, so you may want to skip ahead if you want to avoid spoilers. Okay, let's talk about Kefka. As you can see from this card, Poison the Waters, Kefka goes from being a character who gets mad about sand on his boots to someone who will poison an entire kingdom just to get what he wants. He wipes out the entire kingdom of Doma after Leo was summoned back by the Emperor. Eventually, Kefka is imprisoned for his crimes by Emperor Gestahl, but this is a ruse. Nothing will stop the Emperor from taking the power of the Espers. Eventually, Kefka and the Emperor set free the floating island and stand poised to steal the power of the goddesses. And the Returners, the resistance group that you've joined, are the only ones that can stop them. They fail. Kefka betrays the Emperor, kills him, and throws his body off the side of the island. He then destroys the world and sets himself up as the god of the world of ruin. The reformed Returners band together once more to finish off Kefka before he can finish wiping out the remaining survivors. In fact, that's what the Commander deck focuses on. But this version of Kefka isn't in the Commander's deck. Now, this card is pre-ordering for about $20, and that's the normal version. Some of the versions of this card are pre-ordering for over $100. That shouldn't come as a surprise, what with one of the versions having art from the legendary Yoshitaka Amano. But I don't expect the base version to stay at that price. Which is why today's deck is a budget deck, not counting our commander. If you remove Kefka from the budget, the deck's only $90. So if you're lucky enough to crack him at the pre-release and want to build a budget deck, this is the deck for you. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, Ultimate Guard. The Return to Earth Boulder series is unique in that they are made almost entirely of renewable resources, rather than plastic. And lately, Ultimate Guard's been printing these not just in solid colors, but with artist print, like the new Squarrow series. As part of a set, you can call upon all the Ninja Turtles to protect your commander decks, like this one, featuring Leonardo. Pick yours up today at your local game store, or order it on Amazon. Link down below. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Oh, one more quick announcement before we get started. I'm currently streaming with my son over on Gaming with Danon as well as Twitch. It'll mostly be Final Fantasy XIV, but you're more than welcome to pop in and talk about Commander. Honestly, about half my streams are talking about manga, anime, or Commander. For lands, we're running Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Crumbling Necropolis, Drowned Catacomb, Dragon Skull Summit, Sulphur Falls, Tainted Isle, Tainted Peak, Ferris Lake, Underground River, Sulphurous Springs, Shivan Reef, Choked Estuary, Foreboding Ruins, Frostboil Snarl, Demir Aqueduct, Rakdos Carnarium, Is It Boilerworks, Bojuka Bog, 6 islands, 6 swamps, and 6 mountains. I like having a good amount of basic lands because they're both cheap and come into play untapped. Also, and I know I mentioned this on previous videos, but I do sometimes get comments, bounce lands are actually playable lands and shouldn't be ignored. Think about it. If you had a mana rock that cost 1 mana, came into play tapped, but tapped for 2 specific mana, would you run it? Of course you would. So why not run bounce lands? Our mana ramp consists of Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence, Talisman of Creativity, Dimir Signet, Rakdos Signet, Is It Signet, Mind Stone, Felwar Stone, Thrawn Dynamo, Solemn Simulacrum, Nightscape Familiar, and Goblin Electromancer. Some cost reducers, some land ramp, but mostly mana rocks, which is to be expected in our color identity. For card advantage, we've got Geth's Grimoire, Dark Deal, Windfall, Siphon Mind, Teferi's Ageless Insight, Whispering Madness, Magus of the Wheel, Jace's Archivist, Dream Salvage, Frantic Search, Laughing Mad, and Dragon Mage. A lot of wheel effects, I know, but we're trying to make our opponents discard as much as possible, and nothing does that better than a wheel. Our interaction and spot removal package consists of Counterspell, Upraid, Negate, Terminate, Chaos Warp, Bedevil, Feed the Swarm, Pillage, Arcane Denial, Perplex, Rakdos Charm, Withering Torment, Soul Manipulation, and Skull Rend. A good mix of counter magic and spot removal. For board wipes, we've got Blasphemous Act and Archfiend of Ifnir. Budget friendly and thematic. At least one of them is. The other's a staple. The core of our deck consists of Waste Knot, Liliana's Caress, Megrim, Raider's Wake, Fell Spectre, Painful Quandary, the Locust God, the Raven Man, Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, Turok, Dread Cantor, Blazing Spectre, Blizzard Spectre, Sedaxor Spectre, Hypnotic Spectre, Psychosis Crawler, and Wheel of Torture. That's right, we're a discard deck. What did you expect from a deck led by a villain? Supporting our plan, we've also got Laboratory Maniac, Jace Wielder of Mysteries, Thousand Year Storm, and Pain Magnification. Gotta love having optional win conditions. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 51 mana sources split between 37 lands and 14 pieces of ramp. A little high, but our commander has a high activation cost, so it's fine. 13 pieces of card advantage, counting our commander. 14 pieces of interaction. 2 board wipes. 2 pieces of graveyard hate in Rakdos Charm and Bojuka Bog. 2 sudden I win cards in Jace Wielder of Mysteries and Laboratory Maniac. Our deck is designed to do 2 things: force our opponents to discard cards, and punish them for discarding cards. That punishment comes in the form of taking damage, either from having a small hand size or for casting spells. But most often, it is for discarding cards. Now let's do some math here. If each of our opponents has 5 cards in hand, and we have a Liliana's Caress on board, and we hit someone with a Dragon Mage, each opponent takes 5 damage from the discarding. That's a total of 15 damage. If Kefka is flipped, we just drew 15 cards. So obviously, we'd want our win conditions to be Jace Wielder of Mysteries and Laboratory Maniac. Now, some of you are wondering why I included Thousand Year Storm in this deck. After all, we're not really a Spellslinger deck. We don't have any combos that run with this card. You'd be correct. But this card brings value. If we have either a Jace or Labman on board, cast a couple pieces of spot removal, then cast a Windfall, there's a good chance we win the game on the spot. Especially if we also have a Teferi's Ageless Insight on board. This deck isn't a Spellslinger deck, but it is built with synergy in mind. Kefka isn't exactly a man with a plan. He goes with the flow and does whatever he wants to, whenever he wants to. Which is exactly what you'll be doing if you pilot this deck. How about you? Are you building a Kefka Court Mage Commander deck? Or did one of the other legends from the upcoming Final Fantasy set catch your eye? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cutestuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also want to give a quick shout out to all my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Alix, Borgie, Nazwin, Conga, Robert, Pye, Kazaris, Patrick, Tiz, Art, Richard, Sint, Boomy, Osira, Justin, Golden Walker, Ernesto, and Midge. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.